He says it's easy to remember.
Yeah!
Ah, he's got fans. I've got a small series of poems that I've done from different places that I found myself having a drink or two or more here in the neighborhood. Here's one called At 806, just down the road on Literary. The line of candles flickered with the tones and flashing light on the espresso machine, like a train running along the bar edge, promising enlightenment in its faint glow. The breeze from the air conditioner make the flame matrix play on my eyelids as they close to absorb the tones and rhythms of the trio, reminding me as my breath grows shallow of the dissipation of my elements during the countless times of my final demise. The sax blares out intricate phrases, trying to imitate the bird, yet so close, as my tired, closed eyes concentrate on the candle flicker. It is almost beat, as I wonder if I broke a vow with my second sweet red wine. Is this what Kerouac enjoyed? Listening to jazz, feeling the wine, digging the scene? But would a beat be caught dead spending $10 for a glass? Or would he find a screw top and sit on the stoop listening?
Yeah!
I had an apartment over on Thurman, which I loved because I had a balcony and I could look north and see the skyscrapers from downtown. I love that place. I moved out about a year ago. I'm moving back in about another month. I love it so much. This is one of my last poems that I wrote there before I moved the last time. From my perch, I can see so much. I can see the tops of skyscrapers of struggling businesses. I can see the flies lighting on cat crap. I can see the wind flutter through the war vet's flag. I can see old blind dog and his lifelong buddy, old deaf dog, lounge in the sun. I can see a Cadillac take the alley shortcut. I can see a mound of mulch that replaced the dying hollow tree. I can see the empty parking lot, signaling a few short hours of stressless tranquility. I can see 4 teenage girls with blossoming curves struck to the corner mark. I can see the 4 old hillbilly friends sharing their loneliness through political talk. I can see so many satellite dishes that promise the world and only deliver the banal. I can see a robin slip through the siding to build a nest in my eave. And I can see the coming end of my quiet balcony time, where I can see so much.
All right.
Staying with the theme of this wonderful neighborhood, place with so much art, so much diversity. It's an absolute cornucopia of material for any writer. So this one's called Literary Companion. It was written just behind me over at Civilization, a coffee shop during a rainy day. I was sitting outside. Northeast mist and Midwest fall day, reading poetry with hipsters, sitting piazza-like at cafe next to gazebo-centered park. Drops genesis from an invisible squeegee, gently moistened wood benches, plastic tables, and concrete sidewalk. A winged little bug, type unknown, light upon the page, balanced on paper edge, warming itself in the liquid sunshine. Were you a poetry-loving beatnik in a previous life? Are you reading the sweet verse with me? Crawling along the page, 6 legs scamper, then stop, as if pausing to fully understand the meaning beneath the ink and above the paper. Then chugger along across and line feed. This 3-segmented brother of literature is a slow reader, named by the page-turner Saul in Patience, pronounced soul or soul. Saul, short for wise Solomon. Saul, like Oscar Madison's silly pet fly. Saul after the hidden ball of fire in the sky. He doesn't want to crush Saul, make him part of the punctuation. 6 leg-based commas are much in a piece of verse, and even if it lined up right, nobody uses semicolons in poetry. And as in cafe real life, where chance meetings and conversation interrupt interesting reading, a moist breeze catches the underside of Saul's carapace wing in mid-meter, leaving the bug brain to finish the rhyme, leaving us to ponder how it would go.
All right.
Okay, there's a lot of bars here, and sometimes I have a late night and maybe have so much. But I don't have to drive because it's a wonderful little neighborhood. This was after one of those evenings, drunken walk home. I'm alive with the garbage in the streets, waiting for Friday morning pickup. Alone, staggering in Tremont low-life neighborhood. The neighborhood that the development company don't want anyone to know exists. Surrounded by so many crosses atop churches all around, I still weep, alone, wondering where is the love promised by those spires.
Amen.
Another one, also about civilization. If you didn't know, it was originally an old pharmacy. It has been converted. It's called Corner Cafe Drugstore. They took out the shelves in the old apothecary cabinets, built in as if this corner will always be the site to pick up medicine, candy, soda floats, or whatever the neighborhood needs to feel better. The bottom shelves have cushions on them, and tables are set to form as scant booths, so patrons can be comfortable and can have room to spread their charts and papers for the cool off-campus meeting. The cafe used to display kitschy gourmet candies and neighborhood logo t-shirts, coffee accessories that only arrogant connoisseurs of caffeine snobbery would recognize. Replaced with laptop-toting proto-executives, wannabe tycoons, and self-imagined Picasso Springsteens waiting for their chance, looking for their opportunity, sitting in the box on display as if they were for sale, and glancing up from MySpace dreams to see who else walked in. Nobody takes the chairs facing the old shelves. They don't want to miss anything, anybody, or be crept up on like they're holding aces and eights. The corner still provides what makes the neighborhood better, though underdosed in a way the old pharmacist would never allow.
All right.
Yeah, we got time, I think, for everything. Oh, yeah. I thought I had 10. Okay. Okay, whichever. 10. All right. We're having a debate on my time. I must be that good.
I say longer.
Longer. Thank you. Justice. The gutter swung down over my entrance like on a hinge, as if it was a single stroke of a pendulum in one of Poe's morose stories. I was on the porch, legs crossed, reading a poetry book, when the guillotine fell. I rubbed my neck before calling the landlord. It was destined to fall. I noticed the damage and awkward angle of its driven support spikes in the eave ever since the painter party of ex-cons. They bragged about their time and unfairness of society, but nobody was going to insult them again in front of their women. As they leaned their unstable ladders on the thin tin trim around the house, before they slapped the cheap paint on the siding, they were paint experts, so they told me, as I wondered how not to smile in faked admiration and real fear. The half-toothless one said he was lucky the guy he beat up didn't die, or he'd still be inside. Then he'd spit, and he said he'd kill him for sure if he'd run into him again. The bruised gutter must have been listening. It survived snow and countless thunderstorms over the year. I wondered how much longer it would stay up. Maybe the next summer shower would bring it down. But it was a warm day with a cool breeze, much like today. Perfect to sit on a porch with a poem and a beer. What was it that I did sitting on a lawn chair that reminded the gutter of the desire for murder? I don't know. But it swung down like the executioner's axe, splatter patterns of muddy mold soup on my legs. I rubbed my neck. Condensation from the upstairs air conditioner drips and land on the wood stoop, swelling it up. And I rub my neck again when I call the landlord to get the gutter fixed. I had, I don't know if anybody knows or have heard of Halim El-Dab. He retired as a professor of music ethnology at Kent State. I was over there for a reading and I met him, and he had his drum and was telling stories with it. Very interesting man. I think he was the music director over at Cleveland Public Theater. He certainly influenced me on that one first meeting, and I had a dream. This is a poem. Halim in my dream. On the rough-hewn wall inside where grain and corn is stored, words scratched by a buckeye nut. Laborers ambled in, glanced up at the message. Most shake their heads, muttering something like, "Damn kids." Some stopped, stared, tried to make out the meaning. Each day, a new scribbling, greeted with a similar response. Though some that stared now barely paid any mind, and some that muttered now stopped, looked. A week or more passed, lunch break, the usual African drum beats from a small CD player, compliments from the eldest of the group, remind most of home before they came for the jobs. The talk is, of course, who scratched these cryptograms? Kids and hoodlums, wise guys trying to be cute, each accompanied by agreeing nods and midday meals as midday meals are chewed. When do they do it? Since work usually starts at dawn, lasts till past daybreak. Kids have school, hoodlums can't get past security guards. Only a short time to sneak in, write big bold letters, sneak out. No guard-arousing noise. It simply is not possible. Quietly, the elder suggests it was from a god. Who else is motivated to give long-suffering laborers a message of hope? Although the how is lost. When the youngest of the troop, still in his teens, adds, "Unless he is here, as one of us." Every eye scanned every brow with anxious wonderment, while the elder chewingly smiles, nodding, "Yes, yes, if he is one of us."
Yeah.
I'm happy to see my stepdaughter and granddaughter out in the field here.
All right.
This one's all sort of for them. It's really about their mom and grandmom. It's called Sweet Egg Bread. I miss Mallorca, that sweet spread, one more time. I miss Mallorca, that sweet bread pastry introduced in Puerto Rico, not by new and future ex-wife, but by her mother, not mother. What is Spanish for stepmother? Every day sent down 2 blocks past semi-ornate iron grates, needed even on squalid concrete homes in the tiny island version of suburb. The yellow bread, golden brown on top, sprinkled with powdered sugar. Wonderful breakfast chew when washed down with a café con leche, or used in afternoon cubano or jamón y queso sandwiches. The proprietor gazed at the macchiato milky dollop, the lone blanco face floating among the mulatto crowd of impatient mixed Americans that pledge allegiance to their island. Doña Rosa thought that this errand would help learn Spanish, though the peer-pressured confusion took the tongue and voice at the first sound of que. The squeak of heavily non-native accented "Si es Mallorca, por favor" brings an eye-rolled smile and fast speech by her co-workers. Cuanto invites a quick blurt of syllables and an embarrassed "huh?" And the kind baker says slowly, deliberately, in non-Hispanic fashion, $6.65. With the change comes the traditional white bakery box strung together with red and white string, harking back to Schaefer's in long-ago New York. Whiffs of saliva-generating aroma arise through the seams, giving promise to an authentic Puerto Rican delight. For a brief time in hometown Cleveland, at Lorelei's, home of the best flan this side of Miami, Ponce-born baker briefly had Mallorca available, but snow-blinded Ohioans without the salsa song of palm trees in their hearts ignored them, and softness turned to rubber when this gringo found them. Looking to regain the goodness he remembered, he chewed and chewed and chewed. Without the same context, others inevitably had the same jaw-exercising experience, and so no one bought. They disappeared, extinct from the display case. Missing the sun-warmed salt spray smell of the breeze. Missing the unconditional love from mother-in-law to bewildered mainlander. Missing the salsa beat felt in my heart. Missing the gentle touch on my face from wife of 8 years. And missing the magic Mallorca while sipping con leche on West 25th Street.
Fantastico.
Okay, here's my last one. I took a little vacation down to Mexico. First one I've had in many, many years. And I got up early and went down to the pool and was greeted by a very unusual sight of pigeons. And this is the poem, Las Palomas. In the early morning, they swoop to the top step of the pool where all day humans splash and lounge. But now early, before the sun heats the day, when the humans are still sleeping in beds, holding their heads from the night before, the proud birds land, strut, and splash, cooling and cooing. In New York, they're called rats with wings. But in the dust of Mexico, each take a turn to sit and dip, maybe take a sip. A large, beautifully plumed pigeon sat overlooking the small flock. Another, when it was his turn, would stretch out a wing and roll onto his back and flap and splash in adolescent frivolity until another would butt him out of the way. Sometimes it would turn into a free-for-all until Big Daddy would hop into the middle, squat down to cool his legs, then wing spread splash the others off the platform into deeper water. Only when the magpies with large tails and matching beaks come for a drink and a rinse does Big Daddy make way. But it is a share, much like the bustle of moped, golf cart, auto, and people on the narrow boulevard. The ebony-feathered gargantuans leave in time. The water dance continues like there was no interruption, until they are scattered by the approaching maid, going to pick from the surrounding bushes red flowers that I will find festooning a bird of twisted towels later on my hotel bed. My name's Steve Goldberg. Thank you very much. And also in every second Thursday at the Literary Cafe, just down the street, 1031 Literary Road, we have poetry. It's been going on for almost 3 years now. We're actually getting a national reputation for it. Just goes to show some of the wonderful culture and art that happens in Tremont. Enjoy this great day. Have a nice time. Buy some art. Eat some food. Good night.
Yay!